Wait a minute, folks. Right, good morning, folks. A wee quick surprise broadcast for you. So it's in the truck, Davey out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is overcast, 5 degrees. No surprise for this time of year. Anyway, what brings Davey to your screens a day? What brings Davey to your screens a day is quite simple. Budgets. The Scottish budget's just passed the Parliament, and we've got the up and coming budget next day, Wednesday, for the Britnat stroke English Chancellor. Now, I've been reading the headlines on the passing of the Scottish budget, and all the Britnats are screaming tax rises, tax rises, tax rises. And then we look at the English papers, and it's full of people demanding tax cuts, tax cuts, tax cuts. I want to explain the basic fundamental difference between Scotland and England here, so that the people of England can get it. The reason why we have a better social contract with our government than you have with your government in Westminster, England, is because we are fundamentally travelling in a different direction when it comes to political idealisms here in Scotland from yous in England. We are much more community-based, left-leaning. And that means when the government comes along and says if we want to maintain our public services at a high standard, we want to be able to feed school kids. We want children from 12 to 23 to have free travel on buses. We don't want to have road tolls. We want to have lower council tax but better public services. Then the central government understands that to pay for these things we need to pay for. We have to pay tax. So while they're all screaming tax cut, tax cut, tax cut down that road, while their public services 40 fucking bits, they've got to look at themselves square in the face and say, well, maybe the fact that we're not willing to pay tax is the reason why our public services are falling to fucking bits. Each year we get this for the budget here in Scotland. Tax rises, hit the poorest, but it never hits the poorest. It hits those who have a little more. And what we find with public survey after public survey after public survey, after every single budget, when the BBC and the Britnats are all screaming, highest taxed area of the UK, highest taxed area of the UK, the Scottish people all support the idea of paying a couple of pence more in the pound, so that everybody can share in decent public services, that we don't have prescription charges so everybody can have medicines when they need them, free at the point of need. The young get dental treatment up to 25 for free. Free university tuition fees. And we get the same Britnat idiot year in, year out at the audit office. The Auditor General, Stephen Boyle, tell us we can't fucking afford that. Well, the reason why we can do it in Scotland is because we do not oppose paying taxes to maintain public services for the benefit of us all. Now, maybe because we're a smaller population and our communities are smaller, we're much more community-based. Maybe that's what drives our leftist ideology. But the main difference between Scotland and England is this. Down that road, they are opposed to paying taxes but complain their public services are 40 fucking bits. Whereas up here, we're not really that opposed to paying taxes as long as our public services are maintained. And that's what brings me to the screen today, to underline that fundamental difference in ideology between Scotland and England. The reason why the Scottish people have a better social contract with our government than what the people of England have with their government is because we don't mind paying for the services we use. And we like the idea that our government's got the well-being of the people at heart, rather than the well-being of their sponsors and big business. So that's why we have a baby box. That's why we have lower council tax. We would have to 10-year freeze out the last 11. That's why we'll get cleaner water. It's in public hands. And cheaper water rates. It's why we don't pay prescription charges. It's why we have no road tolls. It's why we have no peak fare zone trains. It's why 12 to 23-year-olds get free bus travel. It's why 60s and overs get free bus travel. It's why we have an extra carers allowance. It's why we have the £20 uplift, £25 uplift per child. An income for the poorest families. It's why we have the best school uniform deal anywhere in these islands for those in deprived families and the least off families. That's why we feed school children from primary 1 to primary 5, and we've had to extending it to primary 7 because of cuts for Westminster. Why are there cuts for Westminster? Because people in England don't want to pay taxes for the public services they complain are fucked. That's why. And that's the fundamental difference between England and Scotland, and that's why we're diverging off in different directions. You know, say it might be something to do with demographics and population sizes, but we seem to be more interested in looking after each other than what the people doing that road up. That's why we have fully funded social care here in Scotland. You see, that's why we have a better social contract with our government, because attitude study after attitude study, as Britnat scream each year, tax rises in Scotland, tax rises in Scotland. Surveys up here show we don't mind, because it means the public services needed by your neighbour or yourself when the time comes is available. So that's what brings Davy to your screens today, to explain the reason why Britnats are screaming that Scotland's the highest taxed area in the UK, while down in England they're screaming cut taxes, but they're talking about how bad their public services are. The two things equate. Unfortunately, because we're still in this union, as they get robbed blind in that road with the selected governments and their crooked corporate backers, the budget gets cut down that road, and their bad economic decisions mean that the budget coming back up the road gets cut. And there's only so far you can take the tax budget. So if we want to maintain down the road a well-being society, rather than going right-wing dictatorship down that road, then eyes on your prize, this coming general election, make sure you put your cross in the SNP box. Have a nice day. Oh, share this around your social media. Let the people of England know there's a reason why we have better public services here. Bye for now.